Did you know that there are between 5,000 and 10,000 phrasal verbs in English? I don't know exactly, but whatever the number is, it is a lot. So today I want to give you just a few more of these phrasal verbs and make them simple and easy to understand and use. I'm Phil from Mayak. Thanks for joining me today. We'll start with one that's not so happy. This is pass away, pass away. And if you hear someone talk about someone passing away, it means to die, simply to die. This is more of maybe a polite or a nicer way to talk about someone's death rather than just the abrupt verb to die. Someone might say, she passed away in her sleep, or my father passed away last year. The next one is pass off as. Pass off as. So 3 parts to this phrasal verb. And this one is something like a trick. It's to make people wrongly believe that someone or something is actually someone or something else. To make them believe that this thing or this person is something different. To pass off as. So the dealer was trying to pass off this fake jewelry as valuable antiques. He was trying to pass off this fake jewelry as valuable antiques. He was trying to trick them to make them think it was much more valuable than it really was. Have you ever read a book that's just horribly written? It's not good, not well written. And you could say, ugh, I can't believe anybody would try to pass this nonsense off as real, true literature. I can't believe somebody would pass this junk off as literature. It means like, I can't believe somebody would try to trick somebody or try to make them believe that this stuff is really good literature. Pass out. Pass out. The first meaning of this is just to become unconscious. To become unconscious. So my friend always passes out at the sight of blood. My friend always passes out at the sight of blood. If you are somebody that passes out at the sight of blood, you probably don't want to go into any medical profession, right? One that you might have heard if you've been in any classes recently is it's to give something to each person in a group of people. To give something out to each person in a group of people. The teacher passed out our worksheets for today. The teacher passed out our worksheets, so she gave one worksheet to every person. Pay back, to repay a loan to someone. To pay back is to repay a loan to someone. He borrowed a lot of money from me last year, but he still hasn't paid me back. He still hasn't paid me back. And with another meaning for pay back, we could take it to a bit of a darker place. It still kind of uses the same meaning. It's to repay a loan to somebody, but it can also mean sort of revenge, like to get back at somebody because of the way that they treated you. So revenge. When somebody wrongs you, it's often, unfortunately, our first instinct to pay them back for the hurt that they caused. It's often our first instinct to pay someone back for the hurt they caused. It is true that we often have an instinct in us that we want to take revenge on somebody. We want to pay someone back if there's a hurt to us. For a lot of people, that is an instinct, I guess. But what's your experience with forgiveness? Because that's kind of the other side of this. And if you do ever get the instinct, the feeling of wanting to pay someone back as revenge, and you know it's wrong, what could you do to calm yourself down, to be thinking again, and to say, this isn't the time for revenge? Is there anything that you could do inside yourself to remind yourself that this isn't the time for revenge? Our own hurt and emotions in that situation are always valid. We need to remember the hurt that we have experienced, and we need to somehow deal with that, right? But revenge isn't the right way. For me, something I like to do or need to do is vent my feelings out. And sometimes that's to another person, but often it's just writing them down. And sometimes when I do that, when I journal my thoughts, I just get whatever feelings, whatever hurt are there. And this kind of thing of all my hurt where I'm writing becomes a prayer to God, to the God that I love, giving him these feelings. And even in my angry state, even in my frustration, even in sometimes even a desire for payback, I can give this to God. And I know that it doesn't scare him away. He already knows my feelings. And I'm able to sort of process that out and give the hurt to the one that can take it instead of trying to take revenge or have some payback. And I also find at these times that's when forgiveness kind of becomes more possible for me, for me to understand I need to forgive. To pick on. So to pick on is to repeatedly single someone out, go to one person with criticism or unfair, unkind treatment, and it's in a very unfair way. You're going to one specific person regularly and treating them unkindly or criticizing. This is to pick on someone. Every day at school, that boy gets picked on because of the clothes he wears. Every day at school, that boy gets picked on because of the clothes he wears. Next is play down. So this is to represent something as being less important than it really is. You're trying to say something is less important than it really is, to play it down. He tried to play down the seriousness of his illness. He tried to say it was just no big deal. He tried to play down the seriousness of his illness and say it was no big deal. So this means he probably had a pretty serious illness, but when he talked to people, he said, oh, no problem, it's fine, it's no big deal. But in fact, it was. And he's playing it down, saying it's not as important as it is. And then we have the opposite. We have play up. And this is to overemphasize something or maybe exaggerate something. It's to go up with it, right? To take the story or this thing and make it more important than it really is. Sometimes the news on TV or in the newspaper, they like to play up these sensational stories because it gives them higher ratings, because more people will watch or read if they take these big sensational stories and make them just a little bit bigger. They play them up for higher ratings. And there's a little bit of a different meaning to play up, but it's also kind of similar, I would say. So it's trying to make someone like you more or treat you better by behaving in a way you think they will like. So you want somebody to treat you better or even like you more, so you do things, you behave in ways that they will really like, so they'll treat you well. An example of this is my colleague is always trying to play up to the boss so that he might be able to get the promotion. He's always trying to play up to the boss so he'll get the promotion. Thanks for watching today. I hope these brought a little hope and help on your English journey, and catch you next time. Thanks.